Hey there and welcome. Do you ever just feel like you're fighting against the seasons instead of, flowing with them? Well, today we are diving into an ancient playbook for syncing our bodies with the world around us. And it comes straight from the classic Ayurvedic text, Ashtanga Hridayam.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Why is it that you crave a big, hearty stew in the dead of winter, but you can't even imagine eating it in the summer? Or why does your energy seem to peak and dip at different times of the year? It feels totally universal, right? Well, it turns out there's an ancient system that has a brilliant and honestly a surprisingly simple answer.
And that answer is found in Ayurveda, in a really cool concept called Rtucarya. It literally means seasonal regimen. The best way to think of it is like a user manual for your body that somebody forgot to put in the box. It's a guide to living in harmony with the cycles of nature, not against them. Okay, this right here, this is the secret ingredient that most of us are completely missing. We put so much focus on the what. Is it keto? Is it vegan? Is it low carb? But Ayurveda says that the when is just as important, if not more so. That same healthy food can have a totally different effect on your body in July versus January.
So to really get how this all works, Ayurveda simplifies the entire year into two distinct halves, or ayanas, and it's all based on the sun's journey across the sky. And this isn't just some abstract astronomy. It's about the dominant energy on the entire planet, and because of that, within us.
What's so cool is that this system maps the sun's energy directly onto our own strength. So during what's called Adana Kala, which is basically from winter to summer, the strengthening sun is actually pulling moisture and energy out of us. It's draining. But then during Visarga Kala, as the sun's intensity starts to fade, the earth and our bodies finally get a chance to cool down and replenish all that strength.
All right, before we get into any specific foods, we have to talk about Agni. Think of Agni as your digestive fire, your internal metabolic engine. And here is the most crucial concept to grab onto. The strength of this fire changes with the seasons. Seriously, understanding your Agni is the key that unlocks this entire system.
Okay, so how does this all translate into practical advice? Let's start with the colder seasons, what Ayurveda calls Hemanta and Sisira, basically late autumn and winter. This is a time when our internal energy is just fundamentally different. Now, here's where it gets a little counterintuitive. When it's freezing outside, your body pulls all its heat inward to protect your core. And this has an amazing side effect. It supercharges your digestive fire. Your internal furnace is just roaring, which means you can handle heavier, richer foods that would probably overwhelm you any other time of year.
So, to fuel that powerful Agni, Ayurveda says we should focus on foods with sweet, sour, and salty tastes. This is the perfect time for things like nourishing meats, dairy products, and plenty of healthy fats. The goal is super simple. Build up your body's reserves and strength when your digestion is at its absolute peak.
And it's not just about the food, right? The lifestyle advice for winter is all about creating warmth and stability. Warm oil massages, which are known as Abhyanga, are highly recommended to keep your skin nourished and your body feeling grounded. Getting regular exercise, soaking up what little sun you can, and just keeping your living space warm and cozy, it all works together to support your energy.
Okay, so as the world starts to thaw and come back to life, our bodies do too. But this transition into spring, or Vasante, isn't always so smooth. It's a season of release, and that can create its own kind of imbalance.
I want you to think of it like this. All that heaviness and insulation you built up in winter, which Ayurveda calls kapha, it starts to literally melt under the spring sun. And that can feel like sluggishness, maybe some congestion, or even spring allergies. That whole melting process can actually dampen your digestive fire, making it much weaker than it was in winter. So to counteract that damp, heavy quality, the diet does a complete 180. Now we start to favor bitter, pungent, and astringent tastes. Think leafy greens, spices, and legumes. Foods like barley and honey are perfect because they have this natural drying quality. The whole goal is to eat lighter to help your body clear out all that winter accumulation. And the lifestyle totally mirrors this. Spring is the time for more vigorous exercise to get your circulation and lymph moving. There's a practice called Udvartana, or dry powder massage, that helps exfoliate and really invigorate the skin. And here's a key piece of advice for spring. Try to avoid napping during the day, because it can really increase that feeling of sluggishness.
All right, now we move into the absolute peak of that draining period we talked about, Grishma, or summer. The sun is at its most powerful, and that intense external heat has a huge effect on our internal fire.
And this is where the logic from winter gets completely flipped on its head. To deal with that intense external heat, your body pushes energy and fluids outwards to your skin to keep you cool. But this leaves less energy for digestion, which means your Agni, your internal fire, is at its lowest point of the entire year.
This totally explains why our summer cravings are actually so smart. We naturally reach for foods that are mostly sweet, but also light, cool, and hydrating. Think sweet fruits, cooling grains like sali rice, light soups, and this special drink called rasala, which is kind of like an ancient smoothie made from churned yogurt and sugar.
The summer lifestyle is all about one thing: preservation and cooling down. So avoid that strenuous exercise, spend time in the shade, and hey, remember how we were told to avoid naps in the spring? Well, here's the twist. In summer, a short daytime nap is actually recommended to help the body recover from the draining heat.
So we've just gone through the seasons, and it might seem like a whole lot of rules, but honestly, it all boils down to one simple, elegant, and incredibly empowering principle. This, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. Ayurveda operates on this simple principle of like increases like. So to find balance, we just use opposites. It's that simple. If the season is cold, dry, and heavy, we choose foods and activities that are warm, moist, and light. If the season is hot and sharp, we choose things that are cool and gentle. And you can start applying this like today with these 3 simple steps. First, just observe. What does this season actually feel like where you are? Then, choose some foods or activities with the opposite qualities. If it's cold, have a warm soup. If it's hot, enjoy a cool piece of fruit. And finally, and this is the most important part, listen. Your body is the ultimate authority here. Notice how you feel and then adjust. Look, this isn't about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's just about making small, mindful shifts. So I'll leave you with this question. What's one small choice you can make this week to bring yourself just a little more in sync with the rhythm of the season? Thanks for exploring this with me.